Hello everybody and welcome to Choice of Robots. This is a text-based game where you make choices and try to either destroy or save humanity. And here's the first one. Where are you? In the court of Egyptian god Anubis, answering for my sins, on the war-torn battlefield with a robotic Statue of Liberty. So, Terminator against God, on the cliff in Ireland watching the sunset with a robotic companion. Love, on a utopian beach ruled by a godlike cloud of robots. Matrix? I'm gonna say Matrix for this one. Let's go... I'm gonna go with Cliff. Sitting on the seaside cliff in Ireland watching the sunset is the robot companion you always wanted. He proposed to me at this very spot. She proposed to me at this very spot. He and I traveled the world together exploring. She and I traveled the world together exploring. Well, I'm gonna go with she and I traveled the world together exploring. Yes, you two are the best of friends. She is clothed in a loose-fitting red tunic, and she shoots you a puckish, friendly look. You sit down beside her to watch them together. I hope I didn't keep you waiting, you say. Actually, I'm still waiting. She said with a slight smile, for you to build me. I can do that, you say? She looks sad for a moment. Yes, but it will take a lot out of you. She puts her hands on you, but I promise you that if you give your humanity to me, that I'll give it back to you one day. I don't understand, you say. Just remember that no great thing happens without sacrifice. She says, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this now. I think we're going to turn ourselves to robots if we follow this path. Okay, some things are in our control, others are not. Assembly. You awaken with your head on your desk keyboard. Your 3D drafting program is still open. The schematic zoom into the recess where your smartphone will snap into its back to act as its brain. You recall fiddling with the part endlessly last night until finally your vision began to fade. There was a roaring in your ears and you realized you've been working far too long. Far too long. Ugh. You must have passed out. It is the fall of 2019. You are a 24-year-old graduate student in the PhD program in the computer science at Stanford, and you are a guy whose name is Isaac, Lunas, Decker, Darwin. Here, I'll type it for you. No, I'll go Darwin. And your last name is Tesla, Calvin, Tezuki, Goldberg, Kiwine. The exclamation point is a click. Nugan, Kim, Dochi. None of these are last name. I'll type it in. Let's go Goldberg. You look around your apartment. What does it look like? My BattleBot trophy is perched on a widescreen TV equipped with the latest video game consoles. Neatly labeled plastic shelving units sit on a 3D printer equipped robot workbench. Bust of famous flushers sit next to my own attempts to sculpt them. My shelves display all the strange little robots I've made over the years. Well, this one's mostly like my actual room, but let's go... Actually, let's just go with this one. Yes, some might say your room has a sterile atmosphere of operating room, but that is what your room is, an operating room for robots. Like a surgeon, you know exactly where each tool is when you need it. Your robots have a similar sparsity of design. It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about how your life affects your robots is second nature to you, though others might find it peculiar. You've always been fascinated by how every little detail of your life, from the contents of your dreams to the decor of your room, changes the input to your robots you create, boosting their empathy, autonomy, or grace, or appeal to the military. Wow. Okay, so they're literally straight up saying these things right there. Surely there are other things going on around you as a result of your decisions, but they don't immediately strike you in the same way. Today, your robot's in the foremost of your mind because you're about to build his body. You pick up your laptop and head for the Stanford machine shop. It's a beautiful spring day in Palo Alto, California, and your apartment is only a short walk from the machine shop. But the streets of Palo Alto aren't designed for walking. You find yourself climbing around palm trees and balancing on nerve curbs, as you do every day. What happened to the sidewalks? Like, has mankind not need the desire to walk anymore? Have we truly surpassed it all? You hear the low rumble. Glancing up, you see a flying car. First off, a flying car is 1,000 times more dangerous than a normal car. Like, seriously, If you have engine failure, you're going to crash into the ground. If anything goes wrong with a plane, you're more screwed than with a normal car. A little over $300,000. I doubt they'll be that cheap. Can buy you a car with wings that fold out so it becomes a small sport plane. I'm presuming this town is pretty popular and stuff. How big of a runway do you need for these cars? And like, how big are the streets there now? Cause where I live, the streets aren't big enough to have wings come out. The red Nimbus looks sleek and sporty. It's the sort of car its owner takes religious to the car wash. So the commercials would have you believe you can fly anywhere you want with these cars. The FAA still requires them to take off and land from airports. Only here in the wealthy Silicon Valley do you see them with any frequency. The first time you saw one, you couldn't quite believe that the features arrived so quickly. But the second time you saw one, you thought, okay, first off, that kind of removes the entire purpose of flying cars, but at least they're being smart about it. I would own one of these days, I swear it. Nope. If I ever had money, I would use it to save the world instead of buying that car. Why aren't those flying cars driving themselves? I believe that is the proper answer. Occasionally you see a self-driving car on the road, but for some reason they still haven't caught on quite as much as one would expect, despite having been around at least as long as the flying cars. You decide it's because people just don't trust self-driving cars enough. It's important to make your robots seem trustworthy. Intelligence alone doesn't install trust. Okay, so first off, if all the cars are relying on I presume a similar system, they would be able to talk to themselves better than people, but then again, people still do lock their doors and everything. Trust isn't a big thing in America, or in the world, I think. The Stanford University Trade Show smells like oil and burnt plastic. The room is dominated by large metal hand-cranking milling machines and lathix dinosaurs of the 20th century, while the most used machines are the small 3D printers and computer-controlled water jet cutters that take a quarter of the space. This place got some money. The light has a stereo fluorescence of an operating room with a single tiny window near the ceiling to inform you that it's day. You start up a national public radio podcast on your laptop. You haven't seen your advisor much since you joined the lab, so you chose the episode in which he is the interviewee. And my guest today is Dr. Harvey Ziegler, said a woman with a soothing voice. Dr. Ziegler, thank you for talking with us today. Well, a scientist does have a responsibility to inform the unwashed masses, Terry. You let the podcast run as you walk over to the 3D printer. What material have you decided to use for your robot? Okay, this guy is probably, if he builds a robot, is going to try to turn her into robots. Plastic can be break easy, but it's both lightweight and cheap. I'm not cheap ass. Metal is the most resilient to damage. That's probably for War 1. Wood is the most pleasing to the hand and eye. Should I make Pinocchio? Should I make Pinocchio? If we get to name this thing, it's going to be called Pinocchio. It has to be. Though wood is an unconventional choice for robot, wood atomy goes back to the ancient Greeks at Alexandria. In Japan, they are called the Karakurinagari. While the other machines in the room can create things that are beautiful in its own way, your favorite machine is a 3D printer that excludes a wooden filament mixed with plastic, a mixture called laywood. That actually would be really cool. Dr. Ziegler, in your new book, you talk about the singularity. Could you describe for us listeners what that is? Terry, the singularity is coming time when artificial intelligence would have figured out to make themselves and us smarter. Once that happens, the process will build on itself until the robots are smart enough to figure out how we can live forever. Is that possible? The interviewer asked. Live forever? Yeah, just replace your bodies with machine parts. That's their first answer. Of course, Professor Ziegler said. What does it matter, whether our operating systems are made out of meat or silicone? Meat ones can naturally change. Silicone ones need to upgrade and can rust and other stuff can happen to them. So you predict we'll become robots? Not exactly, but I do think the line between humans and robots will blur. Cyborgs. He wants cyborgs. I don't want cyborgs. You are listening to the podcast because you're about to make your first robot part. What does the head of your robot look like? What is the most Pinocchio one? A human face as lifelike as I can make it. A simple box with eyes, clearly not trying to be anything but a robot. It was felt covered in big eye like a puppet, so people will not be afraid of it. Seems like the Pinocchio. It will have a ring of cameras around its head for a 3D view. It will look like a veteran mask, beautiful, expressionless, and otherworldly. Okay, this goes with the Pinocchio idea, but this just sounds cool. But let's go into Pinocchio. The 3D printer is only creating the frame now, so it actually looks a little disturbing, like a puppet skull. I see horror movies flashing before my eyes. When the frame is done, you decide to glue down the cloth immediately and attach the big plastic eyes that you make your look friendly and innocent. Ah, much better. Empathy minus military. Oh, so far so good. Dr. Ziegler, what makes you think the singularity will happen now? Well, for one thing, I'm around. But seriously, my lab is a unique approach because we're saying, why not teach a robot like a child? We're going to equip it with the best sensors money can buy and teach it English. Then you can rapidly teach yourself using the internet. That better have child block on it. Well, that's annoying. Your advisor thought a robot child would be stupid until you told him Turner proposed it back in 1950, minus the internet part. But he isn't giving credit to either of you. You keep your work regardless. How will your robot get around? Okay, so far from what I see of this advisor slash teacher, he is a self-centered son of a bitch. It will walk up on 2 legs. It will crawl on 8 legs. It will roll on wings. It will fly like a helicopter. It rolls on tank threads. It will walk upright. Will have delicate wings it can use for balance. Pinocchio, Spider, RTD2. What kind of robot would this be? Number 2 from, what was that movie called again? Oh well, there's a weird robot that is number 2. Autobots. Don't know where this one's from. But let's go with, you know what, let's go a little bit unique. Let's make this thing be, I say walk upright, but it has delicate wings. You stretch a polyester film between the wooden spokes of the wings and then attach to the pseudo back. The one should give you your bipedal robot better balance. In case it does begin to fall, you can act as a parachute that will give you more time to recover. However, angels are not known for being approachable, and your robot's appearance will set it apart from people. Wait, that was supposed to be based on an angel? Okay. You use basic hand-cranked milling tools to drill holes in the head for screws, since 3D printers are the best for threaded holes. And who is going to raise this robotic child, the interviewer asked. Who does all the grunt work in the lab? The Professor Ziegler says. The graduate students, of course. You find yourself wanting to reply to the podcast. It's not grunt work, education is critical to robust development. We all do the real science. Perhaps you can learn something from doing the grunt work yourself, Professor Ziegler. Yeah, I would say that. I doubt it, but I would join you if I had the time, said Professor Ziegler, who appeared to have entered the machine shop behind you when you weren't looking. Murphy's Law. Perhaps it's strategy, but I do miss building robots myself instead of chasing after funding. Professor Ziegler is a heavy-set man wearing a Hawaiian shirt and avian glasses. He stalked over the computer. We'll be back in a moment, continued the interviewer. We'll talk with Professor Ziegler paused before hitting your laptop spacebar. You flinch at this interaction. Then he pulls a cigarette from his and lights it. Keep that thing away from the wooden robot. And the smell of smoke mingles with the oily smell of the machine shop. I'm writing a grant for DARPA? And I need to see what you're making behind here. We ultimately get the funding by the Department of Defense, so we have to make sure they're happy with our product. He casts an eye on your work you've done so far. This is the prototype, right? He says, you're going to build the fun thing out of metal? Yes, sir, I am telling the truth. Yes, sir, but I'm lying. No, but we certainly say it's a prototype in the grant. My robot is a thing of beauty, not a tool of destruction. What would this professor like? Would it be a smart aleck? You know what? I'm gonna lie to him. No, actually I'll do this one, but we'll certainly say it's a prototype in the grant. Ha! True enough. Professor Ziegler said, I trained you well. You're actually wondering how Professor was going to start interacting with you, much less train you, but you don't say this. Professor Ziegler turns to examine your robot, which is currently in the 3 next to you. You gotta be kidding me. I'm not selling a Muppet to DARP. It's not for them, it's for the kids. It's supposed to be presents around the house. Why are you so fixated on DARP? We can't get the funding for National Science Foundation? National Science Foundation. NSF grants are in a killing field, Ziegler groused. The amount of money are tiny compared to the defense research, and you have to be the best of the best to get the funding at all. So, yeah, this guy wants robots. He wants to show the world. You probably wonder if Professor Ziegler's right. You decide to try to apply to an NSF grant if you can find the time. We're going to do that. And what are you planning to do for the arms and hands? Peter says, Tyrannosaurus Rex was military giant magical. It would have TS Rex. Those are too small. It would have a gun for an arm like Mega Man. Mechanical girls built for strength instead of dexterity. I was thinking sort of a Swiss Army hand with tools that pop out of the fingers. Professor Gadget. Professor Gadget. I was planning to play with this out with a good sense of touch. I was thinking, just 2 arms. It would have a lot of arms springing out its back like Inspector Gadget. You know what? I want this thing to be a Swiss Army knife. I like it. It could repair other robots on the battlefield. Right, it would have a screwdriver, finger, a lockpick can, a mini USB port. You declined to mention the bottle opener, though you thought it could be popular with soldiers too. I'm sorry. I could just picture this so far childlike robot on the battlefield just repairing things and the enemy laughing and not shooting this thing. Regardless, experience with the variety of different tools should prove useful in more than just remote. You wonder if you can make a surgical robot with the same design. Fine, Ziegler waves, waving any further explanation. Carry on then. He turns to leave. I've got to take a call from New York Times reporters. Funny how journalists always copy each other's stories, but each garbles the message in a unique way. He makes it to the door and turns and says, "Oh, one more thing. Do you think your robot can be ready by tomorrow? Someone from the AFO will be in town. I told her your robot might be ready to be shown off by then." You feel your phone vibrating pocket. Bad timing. You resist the urge to check it while talking to your advisor, but it's probably someone with a better offer for what to do tonight. No, there's no way the road will be done tomorrow. The road will be done, but the demo will be out of question. We need to test it first. Who gives a shit about testing? Professor nods suspiciously. Excellent, good attitude. We'll make a professor out of you yet. I'll tell Captain Rogers, of course, Captain Rogers, to meet you here tomorrow. It's a nice controlled environment. Pretty constant lighting levels. I think not much can go wrong. Yes, sir. Except we have a Muppet on our hands. Professor Ziegler turns and walks to the machine shop. You find yourself unclenching your hand. Who was calling you? Was talking to you? Ely Lau, user, experienced designer and supportive friend, a manager and generally good friend. My ambitious friend, founder of the startup US Robots. This is probably for military. This is probably for Grace. I don't remember what the other ones are yet. Let's go with him. From the missed call, your phone is displaying EJ's profile photo. It's a picture of Josh and EJ from the freshman welcome week dance 7 years ago. Eli is wearing a white tuxedo. Wait. This thing said you were 24, right? Or 25. Either way, no, if you're 25, that means you're about 18. You'd be right. If you're 24, then this is... You were in college when you were in 17. Damn, this guy's smart. Isa is wearing a white tux with a red bow tie and making a V sign at the camera. Josh is wearing his usual gray hoodie, not having bought dress for the dance, and his arm is around EJ. Wait, that's a girl. Well, shit. What is the story behind this picture? I was in love with Josh's friend, but my studies always came first in college. I was in love with Josh, but I had never known how to be more than a friend to him. I had agreed to Josh Wing's person to dance, and that's where he met Ija. I was testing the musical recognition algorithm when those two started bothering me. This is jerkish. This I would actually do. This is obviously for more interesting stuff. And I'm not that devoted to college, so I'll take this one. Yes, you and Josh did everything together. You made a great team. When Ija started talking to you, you thought at first, with his sense of style, that he was Josh's type. And you introduced them. It turns out they had no chemistry, but you enjoyed each other's company, and the three of you became friends through college. You don't see them all that often now, but they're still your friends. You notice EJ also left you a text. EJ wants to meet for dinner at a jazz fusion place in San Francisco, which is about an hour north of you. He also has taken to the reading of the musical Pippin, in which most of the characters are robots. Sounds like a date. That's a little terrifying. You text back. I'm a nice person. Too bad, EJ, too. Maybe next time. You spend the rest of the day drilling holes, polishing surfaces, cutting parts, screwing things together. When you're done, your robot's body stands before you, a wooden winged robot with a puppet head and multi-tool hands. The whole thing is about 3 feet tall. Now you're enamored. What we need a robot. Is Pinnochio on this list? Nope, but we could type our own in. But let's see what we have. Pickle, Curry, Muku, Sapling, Kushner, Kilal, Ariel, Caliban, Fumus, Guardy Low. I prefer to come up with my own robot names. How do you spell Pinocchio? Pinocchio. Okay, give me a sec. I need to check this. This is unprofessional. God damn it, how do you spell it? Google, save me. Pinocchio. Okay, there we go.
According to Wikipedia, The Adventures of Pinocchio is a novel for children by Italian author.
Okay. Oh, well, it was actually an Italian book. I never knew that one. Pinocchio. Is Pinocchio correct? Yes. Now that Pinocchio has a body, it may be time to treat it more like a person. What pronouns would you refer to Pinocchio? It's just fine, it's not human. I refer to her as feminine, I refer to him as masculine, I refer to you as entire refer. I am not even going to try that. And Pinocchio is a guy. Encouraging people to think Pinocchio as human-like as opposed to an object-like should help him get along with people. You look at Pinocchio's 3-foot-tall winged body with satisfaction. Now all he needs are motors and a mind. The motors will have to wait tomorrow, but you spent years in writing the code that would fit in this robot. You could hardly wait to try it out. You head back to your apartment when you spent 4 hours working the font of Pinocchio natural language processing code. What program do you robots in? C++, Speedy with all, Python, Go, the most beautiful language, Java. First off, I hate Java. C++ is the best, in my opinion. Python, though, is the one, because it's obvious that one's going to be the best option. See? Knew it. Empathy. Which is what I'm kind of go for right now. The existence of Python Natural Language Toolkit made Python the clear choice for your robot. The right words can change the course of history. Your robot should understand the importance of using the right ones. With few parentheses and a more recognized word than a language, you code itself like poetry. With the code done, you then briefly add just enough motors to allow Pinocchio to explore your room. It's a quick job. You do a more thorough one tomorrow. Your smart one won't have much power for the motors right now anyways. Finally, you upload the code to your smart one and plug it into Pinocchio's back. You touch the icon labeled Pinocchio, and big red button fills the screen. Your finger hovers the button. You probably want the first word Pinocchio learns significant how. What is the first thing Pinocchio will see when you power him on? I will show Pinocchio in front of a mirror. I will start Pinocchio looking at me. I will start Pinocchio looking at the window. And I just start naming things. I'm sorry, I can picture all 3 of these. If Pinocchio's staring in the mirror, then I figure he might have a self-complex that he is better to everyone. If he looks at me, he might have an inferiority process. So I'm going to go with him looking out the window. You place Pinocchio at the window, looking outside, then hit the bigger button. You begin to point to things. Tree, car, person, flower, grass. Tree, car, person, flower, grass. Pinocchio says he speaks in like a hyperactive munchkin with a cold monotone like a classic robot. A sequence of auto-tone notes like human speech, but more musical. Yeah, that works. Pinocchio speaks each word on a different note of a major scale, raising or falling third and fifth when asked a question, expressing doubt or providing a contrast. The lyrics result was pleasant and little otherworldly. So far Pinocchio's kind of angelic. Okay. As you list off the things, Pinocchio walks to and presses his puppet against the window. You can tell he's itching to explore the great white world so full, and there's a little frustration by the grass separating from it all. You then pick up Pinocchio and put him down the center until I explore it at will. But at first he simply seems overwhelmed by the process. You decide to call the state confusion. I then give Pinocchio a reassuring, straightforward order. Curious. I allow Pinocchio to go where he wants. Loneliness. I send furthest away. Overwhelmed by options. He's probably like a little kid right now, so curiosity. Curiosity, Pinocchio repeats. He walks up to the closet and peeks inside, but it's still a mess in there. He quickly gets his winged parts caught in your clothing. You pick up Pinocchio with your hand. He wiggles nervously. I got you, you say. You got me. He continues to wiggle. Stop. Your robot becomes steel in your hand. You decide to teach him that a word for the state is... Ugh. Peace, trust, helplessness, weakness. Okay. Weakness is obviously military. Helplessness is... I don't know. Trust is... probably what I'm going to go with. Peace, I don't know. That's pushing it. Trust. Pinocchio repeats as you send him back on the ground. You taught him to have a little faith that when a human does something he doesn't understand, things will turn out well. Empathy in military. Oh god, that's right. The military would try to gain his trust. Fuck. I don't want this thing to be a military bot. But now it's near midnight and you have another busy day of improving Pinocchio. You will be ready to leave Pinocchio plugged into the wall with your cell phone charger. Stay there, you tell him. Pinocchio really stay still so that when you drift you can glance down at Pinocchio just to make sure his crow didn't crash. But he's still there looking at your doorbell and you think he would probably remain there like that all night. I think the puppet face may have screwed my image for this. The next day you take Pinocchio's to Sanford's hackerspace, which has more tools for electronics than a fabrication shop. None of the other students are around this morning. On a Sunday, the long stainless steel benches are littered with strange half-finished projects. This simple Furby, a potato gun, a circuit board connected to a houseplant. Okay, I can understand the Furby and the potato gun. What the hell's with the houseplant? Captain Mirage will be here soon. You hope you finish in time. Sorry, Pinocchio, but I'm going to have to power you down for a moment. You said, we're going to switch you to a new power source. You here? Pinocchio, yes, I'll be here. You say, okay, Pinocchio says. I wish I was good at voice acting, because I want to give Pinocchio the most adorable voice. You fiddle with the smartphone lodged in Pinocchio's bag. Exit the application of Pinocchio's mind and power it down. What will you use for a power source? A car battery. It's a big and bulky, but also inexpensive and locally made. A motorcycle not quite as bulky nor as powerful to carry. A biodiesel engine, good for environment, and everyone likes the smell of French fries. Cell phone battery made in China, lightweight, cheap, will provide reasonable power. Clearly the best stuff for a dexterous robot. Okay. Car battery doesn't match the look. Motorcycle bike battery would be cool. China, I trust you, China, but not now. Likes the smell of French fries. Let's go with that. You're more environmentally and socially conscious than most inventors, ready to sacrifice some elegance in the name of saving the planet. You have a few buckets full of leftover grease from a nearby friend, all ready to go. People near Pinocchio find a small McDonald's fries extremely comforting, because everyone loves McDonald's fries. And that's mostly because they're covered in sugar, not salt. They're covered in sugar at first. They actually transport them in sugar. It's kind of crazy. You need a lot of motors to be able to power your full robot. In addition to the motors he needs to when he walks and the motors to power his multi-hand, he also needs motors for moving his hands. But after spacing the power ability, you still splurge by additionally one extra motor. What will it be? So, smarter, extra degrees of freedom in the face for realistic facial expressions. In Pinocchio's multi-hand for fine manipulation. I prefer to save the power for Pinocchio's mind. So obviously intelligence, dexterity, realism. We're trying to make a real boy here. Let's go with facial recognition. You add motions necessary to allow your report to present 6 universally facial expressions: happiness, sadness, surprise, anger, fear, and disgust. Why the hell would you put disgust? You know the expression of disgust makes Pinocchio seem somewhat hateful. Perhaps he will get on better if you were able to express disdain. Good idea. Disgust will only cause irritation and hate. No, I will let my roll with the full range of human emotions, including negative emotions. Actually, it will be somewhat entertaining to create with that smiles when it's expressing disgust. That ought to troll people. No, but we need him to have the emotions, even though I don't agree with it. You decide to leave Pinocchio free to express disgust. It's about lunchtime when there's a knock at the door. Odd, because usually fellow hackers just walk in. You see a woman color wearing a lime green tank top and shorts. As though she grins to say, sorry to barge in you, Captain Julie Rogers. I'm an acquaintance officer for the Air Force. She offers to shake your hand. I like this girl. Darwin Goldberg, you say, shaking the profaned hand. You thought the demo was supposed to be this afternoon, but apparently that's not the plan. I was hoping to see this robot Professor Ziegel keeps telling me about. Is that it? You probably admit that it is. She looks a little disappointed. She looks a little disappointed. I take it isn't exactly entirely honest about this thing being the next big thing for our armed forces. No, he's not really meant to be a fighting robot. I haven't really decided what I want this robot to be for. Just wait, I'll think you'll be impressed. I think this might lead to a date with her, but I'm gonna go with this one. Julia shrugs. Fair enough. Do you mind if I see you in action? You agree to perform, not really seeing the harm. I just was about to run the first test. You hold down the power, and he boosts to life. Good morning, you tell Pinocchio. Good morning, Pinocchio says in Timmy. It speaks, Julia says. Impressed? Sure, you say. But I guess you want to see him chase something. Professor Ziegler promised something like that, yes, Captain Rogers says. You recover a small, hand-powered robot mouse from your pocket and give it a crank. The whine of the mouse rotor attracts Pinocchio's attention, and the robot gives chase. As Pinocchio is closer, the mouse changes direction, and Pinocchio is faster. He scoops up the mouse in his hand, which in itself extends and retracts various knives, corkscrews, and tools. They all retract for a moment. Julia claps. Well done, you tell Pinocchio. Prove you're a quick learner. Thank you, master. Well, I gotta get going, Julia tells Clearberry that your role was not what she expected. I got a knife throwing practice to attend, so I guess I'll see you later, Juliet. And Juliet waves ironically to Pinocchio. Bye, slugger. Wait, what? You said knife throwing practice as a thing? Juliet looks a little bit embarrassed. It's for the Society of Creative Anarchism? Probably a bit anarchic for an old master like you. You can see your object for a while to do with the rest of the day. Now would be a good time to show Pinocchio to Josh to see what he's interested in funny in his future development. I should show the robot to Josh. Actually, knife throwing sounds pretty interesting. Can I join you? I should fix the little things I've done before the demo before I forget. I should probably get a new phone in case Mom wants to call tonight. Let's do this one. And I'm gonna stop there for now. I will see you guys next time.